All right, so let's go ahead and navigate to our File Explorer. So let me close this. So on my search bar, maybe I might look up File, and there it is, File Explorer. It's also this icon here on my toolbar here with the Manila folder, and here's my File Explorer. So when I first open up my File Explorer, it's going to go to my most recent documents. And you can see here I've been recording quite a bit of videos, so you can see a lot of videos. You can also see the example documents we created in Word and in Google Docs. Remember this one we created in Google Docs, but you can open it on Word. Same file type, right? Can be handled on both softwares. Let's go ahead and go through this menu of features. I'm going to move this out of the way. And first, I'm going to show you how to navigate these different folders. Well, the most important folders you'll notice are pinned here. So pin means that they're permanently stuck there, right? Just like you would pin something on a board. Again, a lot of these icons, a lot of these things go back to like the old way we used to do things before computers. So we used to have these like particle boards that you would pin things on. I'm sure some of you still have it, right? Uh, Vintage things are in every so often. But yeah, that's where that comes from. So these are pinned on. So desktop is actually, it's not my desk, but you can't see it because of my screen sharing. I have like three screens, so you can't see it. But desktop is where you actually, when you open up your computer, it's where you can actually see everything. So I think I can still show you the desktop. Nah, you won't be able to see it. That's fine. But yeah, when you first turn on your computer and you see files here, that folder is actually the desktop folder. So really important stuff, especially these shortcuts, right? To like Spotify, I use that a lot. You're gonna want to have those on your desktop. Really important folders and files. Now, it's not a good idea, for example, to put example doc here. Or did I put? Oh yeah, I do have the file there. Sorry, I just couldn't see it. So let me go view, auto arrange icons. Let's not align to grid. View, auto arrange icons. There you go. Now I can move them around. So I just right clicked on my desktop, went to view, and I didn't check these on. So now I can have them wherever I want. I've actually seen people do artwork with their desktops. Let me show you really quick. Yeah, so there's this artist who actually remembered. He actually changed the icons to all his files to teeth, made his background his face, and then just put the files, as his teeth, which you could totally do. If I didn't want this to be a word icon, I could go to show more options. Let's see. Let's go to properties. I haven't done this in a while, but here it is. Changes with digital signatures. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so it turns out for files, you can't change the icon. So we want to do that teeth trick, but we can do it with shortcuts. So let me show you how to do the shortcut. So let's say I had example doc in my documents, right? As you should, right? So I just dragged and dropped it into documents. So here it is in the documents. But sometimes there's certain things that you want to access really quickly. Maybe it's an app, maybe it's a file. So you can do right click. I'm going to put show more options for some reason. They've kind of shortened these menus with Word. But here the create shortcut. Or sorry, not Word, with Microsoft. So we're going to do create shortcut. That should create a shortcut for me. I created it in the document, so I'm going to drag it into my desktop. And now I have a shortcut to that document. If I wanted to change the icon of this, so I could go show more options, properties, and then I can do change icon. And I can choose any picture I want. I could choose my own, or I could just choose one from here. Let's pick kind of a silly one. Uh, Not a lot of super silly ones. Let's go with this vintage Internet Explorer logo. Put apply. And there you go. Change the icon. You could also choose your own image if you wanted to. So yeah, this is going to open that document. So if I click on it, it'll open that document. You could do this for pretty much anything that you find on on the File Explorer. As long as it's there, right, you can create a shortcut for it. All right, so we have that down. We created a shortcut. We learned how to navigate these different directories. What if I am on documents, for example, and I want to have separate sections for my Word documents, for my presentation documents, for my videos? I do a right click here, And in fact, let's do this in pictures because in pictures it makes more sense. So I have a lot of pictures here. So I did attend one of the protests recently, so I have my protest pictures there. I have a screenshot there as well. Let's go ahead and create a new folder, right? So all you have to do is right click and hit new. There's also a new icon here. There's always going to be a bunch of ways to do it. I always like to go with my right click, new folder. And then let's go with, I don't know, let's go with class, or let's go with course course covers. So I actually have like a picture, right, for the course that I might put in here. So let's say I want to find one online, right? So let's go with see, intro to computers, images, and let's say I wanted to use this one for my computer class. So I could hit save image as instead of copy. And then it's going to ask me where to save it. Well, I'm going to go to my pictures and then to course covers. I'm not going to hit save because I'm going to give it a different name before I save it. Give it CIS 101. Actually, let's leave it as images. Let's say I forgot. All right, so now I go to course covers and there's my images. Now, that's not the proper name, right? So I can just right click and hit rename here. And now I can type in CIS 101. And there you go. Now I have a course cover for that class under picture course covers. And I can move this around. Maybe I don't want this in pictures. Maybe I want this in documents. I can drag it into documents. I could also just cut. So cut's going to delete it from here. And then wherever I paste it, it's going to move it there. So that's essentially what the cut does. It essentially moves the folder. You can undo just like you do in other places. The universal way to undo on your keyboard is actually Control Z. So Control Z is how to undo. So you can do that on pretty much any software. Control Z will undo. So if you can't find an undo button, just hit Control Z. All right, so I'm gonna go back to documents or back to pictures, and there it is. Course covers, it went back to its place. So let's see. I can actually add more covers. So let's say I had multiple classes, or maybe I had different categories of classes. Go new folder. Let's go with computer courses. Let's say I was teaching other types of courses, robotics courses. And then I can move this here. I can do copy and paste, cut and paste, or I can just drag and drop. Easiest way to do it. Computer courses, there it is. If I want to move it back, I can drag it up here, move back to course covers, because this actually gives me the path for the file. So there it is. Pictures, course covers, computer courses. So the entire tree, right, of folders. I can put it back into pictures or put it in course covers. Let's put it in pictures. And there it is. There's my course cover. Of course, I want it in course covers, and then I want this in computers courses. So that's how you manage your files. That's how you organize them. How do you actually delete them? So I don't actually want this course covers thing. I actually have already some course covers in my documents page here. So Canvas course cover photos. So I want to delete the one that's in pictures. So all you have to do is you can click on it and hit the trash icon. You can right click, hit the trash icon. You go into more options. You could hit delete. You could also click on it, hit delete on your keyboard. It all does the same thing. Again, 100 ways to do the same thing. All right, so usually you have a recycle bin there, but because I'm on a bunch of screens, you're not going to be able to see my recycle bin. I'm going to open up my recycle bin. You should be able to see it on your desktop again because I have 3 screens, so you can't see it. I have to fix that in the settings. But let's see. So I'm going to open up my recycle bin. So if you're on Windows, you should be able to see that. And here I have some files here. So I was trying to do some cool stuff with some software. It didn't work out, so I deleted it. And I also have my course covers here, so a few files there. Your files are actually not gone when you hit delete. Because notice, I can see course covers right there. And actually, if I click on it, I can restore the item, so I could bring it back. So the recycle bin is like a staging area. It goes there when you delete it, but it doesn't permanently delete it. until you hit the empty recycle bin. So it's still taking up space on your computer. So if you've never emptied your recycle bin, that thing's going to be packed. It's going to have a lot of stuff in it. Assuming, right, you've been deleting stuff for a while. Um, Make sure if you want to clear up space on your computer, easiest way to see how much space is on your computer is by scrolling down here and going to this PC. And notice here is my computer drive. Notice this is an external drive, which we'll talk about in a sec. So I actually have a USB drive plugged in. That's where I access photos from my camera. But here, this is where your computer's kind of taking up space. So I have a ton of space on this computer, so I'm not really worried about it. But maybe on some of your laptops that have less memory, make sure you empty the recycle bin so that your computer actually deletes those files and so that you actually have space on it. So let me open up the recycle bin one more time. Let me hit empty. It says, are you sure you want to permanently delete these 9 items? I'm gonna hit yes. Now, I have to say, when you delete something from the recycle bin, technically, there is still a trace of that file on your hard drive. The only people that really have access to that, almost impossible trace of those files is the FBI. So if you go off and you commit murder, and you thought you got rid of all the evidence on your computer, just know FBI can still access those files even if you emptied your recycle bin. So even emptying your recycle bin, technically not permanent. There are ways, there are techniques, methods to kind of get traces and informations of that data. I'm not too familiar with it. I'm not a cybersecurity expert, so I wouldn't be able to tell you how much they can find. But just know, even on computers, it's not permanent when you delete something. All right, so that's deleting files. Now let's say I want to send a bunch of pictures. In fact, let's say I want to send a bunch of videos. So I've been recording videos all day. And let's say I want to send all the videos for the word processing lesson. Trying to send those as a single file in an email is not a good idea. In fact, let's go to pictures. This is a better example. Let's go to the protest one. So I have all my protest pictures. There's only a certain amount of files you can share via email, but if you zip them, if you compress these into a zip file, then it's easier to share them. So sending, let's see how many files this is. Sending all these files would be 39 files. So yeah, email would probably not allow me to do that. I'd have to do multiple emails unless I zip them. And keep in mind, the way I'm able to select these things, you can click and hold to select multiple files. You can select all by doing Control A. If you hit Control on your keyboard, you can actually do multi-select. So let's say there's certain pictures I don't want. I can deselect them or reselect them without getting rid of my entire selection. If I'm not holding the Control button on my keyboard, check it out. It's going to do a new selection each time. So if I want to do a custom selection, I hold Control on my keyboard, and now I can select all the items I want. So if I do Control A, it's all of them. I don't want this folder here, so I'm just going to select these. All right, so now I want these 39 files to be compressed. I want them easier to be shared. So you can do right click, compress to zip file. And notice there's other ways to compress. Zip isn't the only way, but it's the most common way that I've seen. So now I have this zip file. I'm going to rename it and put protest pics, hit enter. And now this is going to be a lot easier to share. And none of the data is lost. So if I uncompress these pictures, it's going to be the highest quality. These are massive pictures, by the way. Let me go to properties. Yeah, 5 megabytes. These are really, really big pictures. When I zip them, it's going to make them smaller temporarily, but I can unzip those files. So let's put these into downloads because I don't want to have copies of these pics. And if you want to open up or extract these files, kind of think of them as you took the air out, right? Like if you've ever used a space bag for travel, right? You put a big blanket, you put in this Ziploc bag, and you take the air out. That's what zipping a file does. All the same stuff is there, but you got rid of some of the extra space. Now, when you want to use that blanket, all you have to do is open up the bag, right? And all the air comes in. Well, similar idea with zip files, you can extract them. So here you could do extract all. If you click inside, you can also extract them all. A lot of times you can still open the file, kind of get a preview of it, and it's kind of extracting it on its own. But for the most part, you want to extract all. That's the one you want to do. Remember, you could also do this by right-clicking on the file. It's going to ask you, hey, where do you want to extract these to? I'm going to say protest pics, and I'm going to rename it, call it extracted. Hit enter, and there you go. All my pictures full size. Check it out. More options, properties. There you go, 5 megabytes, just as I expected. So I click these, and it's a full size picture right there. So yeah, that's zip files. Last but not least is your secondary storage. So sometimes, less common these days, you might have a USB drive. So USB drive is how you can, back in the day, right? Not that long ago, you can take files from one computer to another. So say I had a presentation, right, due in class, I don't know, 15 years ago. I would actually put it on my USB drive on one computer. So let's actually do that. Let's go to documents, and I'm gonna do copy, and then I'm gonna paste. So this USB drive is plugged into my computer. It's not part of the computer. I just plugged it in through one of the USB slots. So now this file has a copy of it inside this USB drive. So I can take it out of my computer, go to class, right? Plug it into another computer, and there it is. That was the way we used to share files. Of course, now you can just email the file. It's a lot easier. I'm going to show you another way with cloud drives in a sec. But yeah, that's how you would share it, is with these external drives. And you can always find them in File Explorer on this very bottom section. And notice it's picking up another file here. It's not really for saving files. This is actually my microphone, but it's picking it up as like an external drive. So here's USB drive. There's also network there. I don't even know what's there under these drives, but yeah, USB drive, that's the one. And notice there's different folders here. That's for the different cameras that I have. There you go. So yeah, that's external drives. They pop up here. Back in the day, you would have to do eject to safely remove the drive before you actually unplugged it. Nowadays, most drives are safe, so you don't really have to worry about ejecting it first. This is kind of like a legacy thing that we had to do back in the day. If you didn't eject back in the day, you risk corrupting the files in that drive. But yeah, nowadays, software's so advanced, hardware is so advanced, you don't have to worry about that. So that's pretty much it for File Explorer. Remember, when you save your files, especially on Chrome, it's really easy to find them. So I'll show you one more time. But if you don't have Chrome, or we're still not on that internet lesson yet, so it's okay if you don't remember this. I'm gonna save my image. It usually goes to my downloads. I hit save. If you're on Google Chrome, you click on your downloads folder or downloads icon. There's this little folder icon. It'll take you directly to where that file is, that potato. I can click on it, and there's my potato. But if you didn't, just remember when you're saving stuff, remember where it goes. Be mindful, right, about where it goes, because then when you're trying to submit that homework that you saved a week ago and you forgot where you saved it, right, it might be some trouble. Remember, you could always find it here. If I type in potato, right, I didn't actually name the file potato, so little clue there to give your files useful names. But if I type in download, you'll notice there's my potato file, and I found it right there. All right, so that's it for this demo. As always, if you have any questions, if I went too fast on something, if you want to learn something else that I didn't cover, you can always reach out, and I'd be happy to help.